All right, welcome to our presentation on the ethics of quantum computing. I'm presenting with James Moyer, my teammate, and I am Joshua Thaisananikone. So to start up the presentation, we need to know what is quantum computing or quantum computers. To start, we need to understand a computer. A computer was created based on the Turing machine, which was a mathematical model made by English mathematician Alan Turing. The Turing machine mimicked a computing device that could solve a mathematical algorithm. So long as it is given instructions, a computer operates exactly like this. When given instructions, like say a line of code, it is able to interpret what it needs to do and solve it. The interpretation instructions are converted to what are known as bits. Bits are a basic units of data on a computer that can either be zeros or ones. Zero means false and one means true. The bits are received in the form of electrical currents. It is through these bits that a computer is able to understand the logic of an algorithm and solve a problem. Quantum computing builds upon this. So on the right, we have a picture of a quantum computer. So quantum computing or quantum computers are also able to interpret and understand instructions like a computer. However, the process to do this is different with quantum computers. For one, quantum computers do not translate any data to bits. It translated it to qubits. Qubits are subatomic particles like electrons and protons. Qubits are generated in many different ways, so such as using superconducting circuits cooled to temperatures colder than deep space, or it traps individual atoms in electromagnetic fields on a silicon chip in ultra-high vacuum chambers. Qubits utilize something called superpositions, which allows for them to be in multiple states and allow for them to run multiple calculations at once. This allows for a quantum computer to solve a problem much faster than a regular computer. Quantum computers are often utilized for commercial purposes such as simulating the creation of a car part. So there's one problem with quantum computer, and that has to do with encryption. So quantum computers, because of its ease at solving problems, it's able to break encryption pretty easily. And this is a problem because encryption is what is used to protect data all across the internet. In fact, most data, specifically sensitive information, are protected by a randomly generated digital encryption key, which looks like this long digit 1010. And to randomly generate the key, a complex algorithm is used. This complex algorithm cannot be solved easily by a regular computer. With that being said, the breaking encryption opens up several ethical issues. But for this presentation, we'll focus on three: national security, data breaches, and an unstable economy. So the first issue is national security. So the breaking of encryption by quantum computers can make the country vulnerable to cyber attacks. Databases that contain several sensitive information related to government, like classified information and nuclear codes, could be left vulnerable. And if any of these information were to fall in the wrong hands, it could lead to catastrophic consequences such as war. The second ethical issue is data breaches. The breaking of encryption by a quantum computer could could cause data breaches, but many information stored by the internet users that are protected by encryption would be open to data breaches. Information such as phone numbers associated with social media accounts and private emails could be revealed to the public without the owner's consent. And this is an issue because all internet users are given the right to privacy. So if data breaches were to occur, this could open the doors to lawsuits, and it could also endanger the lives of some people, in particular domestic violence victims, who may fear harassment from a former spouse. And lastly, our final ethical issue is a danger to economy. So with the economy becoming more digital due to the rise of like cryptocurrency, digital banking, cash app, encryption has become much more important. If quantum computers or quantum computing were to break encryption, those who use digital banking apps and cryptocurrency will likely lose their money. But it also doesn't stop there. Other people, as long as they store their money in banks, would be at risk too. Bank stores their customers' information digitally these days, and with a cyber attack using a quantum computer, money could also be easily stolen. So the effects of the economy could be drastic. almost immediately, potentially causing a recession or something similar.
So this is
This
our
is
utilitarianism analysis. Utilitarianism is about maximizing overall happiness for the common good. It sometimes involves a negative means to an end, but all that matters is the final outcome measured by happiness and well-being. So for national security, a utilitarian approach would be to either prevent the development of quantum computing or more realistically invest a great sum of money in developing quantum encryption to be properly prepared. If this can be done, it will end with greater national security and an increase in well-being of citizens and government. For data breaches, a utilitarian approach to this issue would be to allow the development of quantum computing, as it would eventually result in even stronger encryption for personal information and privacy. This approach ignores the potential hardships of getting to the end goal. Many people and businesses would have their information compromised in the short term, which would cause great struggle. And then for the economy, a utilitarian approach would involve preventing quantum computing from being developed. This solution somewhat ignores the fact that quantum computing will likely be developed regardless of efforts to stop it. Thus, a more realistic approach could be to shift the digital economy into a quantum-proof system. This could mean creating new encryption methods or changing how the digital economy works as a whole. This, however, is very broad and it would be extremely difficult to achieve. And this is our analysis for deontology. Deontology is a moral theory that emphasizes the importance of following rules or duties in making ethical decisions. It holds that certain actions are inherently right or wrong, regardless of their consequences. Deontological ethics focuses on the moral status of actions themselves, as opposed to the outcome of those actions produced. The principles of duty, obligation, and rules play major roles in deontology. So for national security, deontology would emphasize that the government has a duty to protect its citizens from all national security threats. If quantum computing were to impose a national security threat, the government must find a way to prevent this from happening. One solution is that the government can increase funding in research of encryption and cybersecurity measures to help find ways to improve encryption or possibly create a new system to secure data. Through research, the breaking of encryption can be prevented, thus ensuring national security and fulfilling their duty to ensure the national security of the country. For data breaches, from a deontological perspective, the people who work in the technology sector, in particular, the people who work in cybersecurity, have a duty to ensure encryption is not broken and that data is secured. One solution they can do is through upgrading the algorithm used to create encryption to require the quantum computer to run all of the solutions one by one as opposed to simultaneously. This will cause the quantum computer to take forever to crack encryption and discourage phishers and hackers. And then for the economy, from a deontological perspective, banks and those who run a country's financial system, like the country's central bank, have a duty to protect the country's financial infrastructure to ensure a sound economy and protect customers' finances. One solution to this would be for the country to invest in creating an algorithm that will make it harder for quantum computers to crack the encryption that banks and the country's financial system use to maintain its banking system. By doing this, this will ensure that the banks and the country's financial fulfill its duty of ensuring a sound economy and protecting customers' finances. And then lastly, for Rawlsian justice. Rawlsian justice is about fairness and equality in society. This entails fairly distributing all resources to everyone so that everyone is at an even playing field. Those at a disadvantage ought to be accounted for in order to bring equality. So for national security, Rawlsian justice would suggest that the national security must be maintained in order to prevent massive burdens upon the society within. If quantum computers jeopardize national security, the burden would be felt by each person residing in the nation. Therefore, by following Rawlsian justice, it is imperative to ensure that national security remains properly protected. Similarly to the utilitarian approach, this would mean investing in quantum cryptography to be able to withstand the threat of quantum computers. And for data breaches, certain users getting their data stolen would present an unfair distribution of burden. Those with sensitive data stored digitally would be at high risk and would experience severe consequences. To prevent such individuals from experiencing that, there must be a solution that protects sensitive data from being breached. Different kinds of data breaches can result in different levels of burden. so certain ones such as social security numbers and bank information must be prioritized. One way to achieve this is to develop more effective security measures such as quantum cryptography, which can encrypt in a way that quantum computers cannot decrypt. And then for the economy, the event of an economic collapse would obviously be an enormous burden on everyone, especially those who aren't in a strong financial position. To mitigate this, a solution must be implemented that keeps the economy stable. As with other issues, developing quantum cryptography would be key. The only way to keep financial information secure is to be able to protect it from quantum attackers. This oversimplifies, though, as developing quantum cryptography before quantum computers are capable of attacking may not be feasible. So some takeaways from our presentation. There are many key ethical issues surrounding quantum computers and their implications on encryption. Many of them, including national security, safety of citizens, personal data being breached, personal finances, and societal collapse, demand a solution such as quantum cryptography. Quantum cryptography is a type of encryption that utilizes quantum mechanics and is theoretically unhackable. This is because if someone, quote unquote, observes a quantum key, the quantum state will change, which makes any hacker known or visible. These scenarios are high risk, high reward, as relying on quantum cryptography could take more time than it takes for the threats to arrive. However, once quantum cryptography is operational, data will be far more secure. It is imperative to use multiple ethical frameworks when dealing with such problems, because different frameworks can help you see different angles of the problem. For example, in our case, if we only focus on a Rawlsian approach for quantum computing, we would never realize the potentially positive outcome of technological breakthroughs. This is something that we only saw through a utilitarian lens. In different contexts of encryption being compromised, the outcome had to be compared to the initial hardships that would be endured, and solutions were weighed based upon that. Thank you for listening. These are our references.